Good morning, everyone. This is Gail Dudley with your News in Motion. Today is Tuesday, March the 2nd, 2021. We are in our second day of Women's History Month. And y'all know Tuesday is always hashtag That's Happening Tuesday, where I give a short rundown of the news, really pulling out major headlines. But today is going to be a little bit different. Good morning, Jeffrey Allen James. Good morning to you. Good morning, Paige Dixon. Good morning to you. Good morning, Dana. Good morning to you. Good morning, Deborah Johnson. Good morning. Good morning, Miriam. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Diane Ladybug. Good morning. Good morning, Stephanie Burbridge Hall. Good morning. What's up, people? How are you doing? Good morning, Yvonne. Good morning to you. Good morning. What a beautiful day it looks like it is outside. Good morning, Lee. Good morning, Adrian. Good morning. Good morning, Pastor Antoinette. Good morning. Good morning, Regina. Good morning to you. Good morning, people. Good morning. Yep, today is Good morning, Laverne today, and good morning, Lori Williams-Wallace. Today is, as we know, Tuesday. That's Happening Tuesday, where I normally go and give down a how many of you love hearing the ding more than the sound? You are silly. Good morning, Julie. Good morning. Y'all, this is That's Happening. Good morning, Deborah Sneed. This is That's Happening Tuesday. Good morning, Kelly Lee, where we normally take the headlines and go through them. Good morning, Kenny Stanley. Good morning, Kim Edmondson. Good morning, Kimberly. Good morning, Pastor Nat. Y'all, don't forget, if Mike Nicholson joins today, it's his birthday, so he may not. Make sure when he comes in, y'all just hit him with some love for birthday wishes. Good morning, Tracy Burrs. Good morning. Good morning. But anyway, good morning, John Gore. Anyway, listen, y'all. So there's so much content in the news today that I will not be doing rapid fire headlines because there's some information I need to give you. So That's Happening Tuesday. It's still That's Happening Tuesday, but it's going to be framed a little different today. But I know y'all don't care. Y'all just want the news. Y'all just want the news. And trust me, there is a lot of news that's going on. Good morning, Jacqueline. Good morning. All right, and good morning to everyone who's listening by audio as well. Good morning to you. So let's get started with today's news. Again, this is the second day of Women's History Month. Excuse me, I knew that was coming. Of Women's History Month. And I just want to empower all women and girls. Go out and do you and do what is bringing you joy. Go out and do what's bringing you joy and enjoy it. Enjoy it. So here's the top headline that I want to talk about. And the top headline today is that it doesn't add up. It does not add up. Blavity and AP, and that's Associated Press, are reporting that internal documents acquired by the Associated Press revealed that Louisiana state police officials are omitting officers involved in the May 2019 arrest of Ronald Green were not truthful in how they described what happened. And there they weren't truthful. Troopers initially said that Green died after he crashed his car into a tree following a police chase in Monroe, Louisiana. Good morning, Riakis. That began over an alleged traffic violations. But that version of the events were immediately questioned by the emergency room doctor Omakadian, who wrote in a report that he noticed Green's the burns from the tasers on his chest and other things that did not line up with what the police were saying in their report. He says it does not add up. Before saying that after he started asking questions, the police admitted to doing these things. They said there was a fight and a struggle. So more as people are digging into it, they are finding out that what the police officers reported, they were not true. So the question is, what's going to happen with these police? Just as this past Saturday, they said that they had dragged Green on his stomach and had shackled him. So he did not die in a car that went into a tree after a police chase. There was struggle and there was fight. There was struggle and there was fight. So y'all, here we are once again having to deal with this as a Black and brown community. And people are questioning, why do we become concerned, or why are we worried, or why do we protest? Well, clearly, those are some reasons why that happens. All right, y'all, I was talking about that. I want to talk a little bit about bail bonds. Global Citizen is reporting that in Illinois, the governor there has signed a piece of landmark legislation to reform the state's criminal justice system this past Monday, putting an end to the practice of cash bail that disproportionately affects people living in poverty in communities of color. So they're like, no, we're going to do away with this, because what normally happens is the legislation marks a substantial step, but this is what happens. The practice of cash bail criminalizes poverty by forcing low-income people to stay in jail before their trial when they cannot afford the bail to get out. And many of these defendants wait years, we're talking 10, 20 years before a trial date is set. Leading to a negative mental health effects and stigma surrounding their detention. So the governor of Illinois says, no more, we're not going to do this. So he signed a landmark legislation saying, we're done with this. And just imagine if other communities of color, other states will begin to pick this up and put that into practice as well. Good morning, Patricia Lyles. So y'all, that's happening. Y'all see I'm taking a different turn this morning. I could not just grab headlines with the news that's out here today, but I'm gonna keep going. All right, now I'm going to do an actual Wednesday workshop on this tomorrow, but this is news that we cannot sit on, because we need to start thinking today what steps we're going to take. And I'm talking about, we need to pay attention to the Voting Rights Act. The U.S. Supreme Court, it came out yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear oral arguments beginning today in 2 cases with potentially wide-ranging impact on the election law. So they're going to start hearing these cases today, people. And I want to read this. So forgive me for looking down more often than I normally do, but I want to read this. The consolidated cases, both from Arizona, both of them are from Arizona, question the scope of Section 2 of the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which prohibits voting procedures that discriminate on the basis of race, color, or language. All right, y'all, this is an issue whether Arizona's ballot collection law, which prohibits third parties with certain exceptions from delivering someone else's completed ballot, unfairly targets minorities. So let me stop right here. And again, I'm going to go over this more so. Good morning, Awana. More so tomorrow in Wednesday workshop. So let's say, we were dealing with the pandemic last year during primaries, and then last year during the general. We're still dealing with the pandemic. So they're saying that somebody cannot pick up someone's ballot in a nursing home and take and turn it in for them, or pick up a ballot of someone who has pre-existing conditions in the wake of a pandemic to deliver that ballot. They're saying that someone that does not have transportation, they cannot have their ballot delivered. So they're trying to cancel that. So the Supreme Court is going to begin hearing arguments on that today. And it's really targeting the Black, brown, the minority communities. Y'all, this is serious. Remember, there are over 165 new legislative bills that they're trying to pass that's going to suffocate the voting rights of Black and brown people. Y'all, this is serious. This is real. And that's why I want to slow walk this today, because this is so important. I just don't want to jump over it. Okay, they're saying the justices will also consider a rule that requires ballots cast outside of a voter's precinct to be discarded. Now, we talked about this last year many times. You think that's your precinct, you go, yep, it is so telling. You show up, they give you a provisional ballot. Those are the last ones to get counted. I've told you before, you really don't want that. You want an actual ballot. Well, that's an automatic throw out because you went to the wrong precinct. We also know that there weren't enough people last year. They were trying to get more and more people to serve at the voting booths. We have that as well. So I want to just pause for a moment. We're going to have some interaction here this morning. I want you to put in a thread, like if you've heard of any experiences where people were either turned away from voting, or they didn't have the right ID or information, or when they arrived, the rules changed. So if there's anything like that, Georgia passed one of those laws yesterday. Jeffrey, it is crazy how they're sneaking these things in. So go ahead and put in a thread. If you know of anyone, or maybe yourself, you've experienced something, especially last year, that was iffy. Diane Ladybug, and Tracy Kumi, that we encountered that at the King Center. Last November. So y'all, this is what's happening. So y'all see why I'm slow walking this today? Yeah, Paige, it makes my head spin too, girl. I'm slow walking this today because I don't want to just rapid fire headlines, because this stuff that I'm sharing today is heavy. It's heavy. I don't mean heavy like on my shoulders, but it's heavy that we need to dissect this and truly understand what's going on. We need to truly understand what's going on. So if y'all have any thoughts, put it up there. If y'all have any thoughts or anything that has happened to you all makes you so mad. I know, Diane, it's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. So I'm going to keep reading. It says the justices will also consider a rule that requires ballots cast outside the voter's precinct to be discarded. A law critics say unfairly burdens also Hispanic and Native American residents. So let's talk about that. If they're living in rural places and they don't have transportation to get there, and the rural voting precincts have closed down, what are they to do? Where are they to go? How will they get there? So who's going to serve these individual people? I see y'all coming in and out again. Hopefully you're not getting kicked out. But y'all, this is what's happening. Yes, Mary Jenkins, this is intense. This is intense. This is why I was singing to you all even early January. We cannot sleep on this, Deborah. I never want us to get off the conversation of voting. I never want us to get off of that conversation. And it's because we cannot wait until 2022 to start figuring out what we're going to do. We need to actually get our game plan together now. And again, I know some of you are tired of me talking about it, but y'all, this is our lives. This is the lives of our children and our children's children and so forth. This is what's happening. What happens over the next 2 to 3 years is going to be instrumental in how we're going to move forward. If we don't deal with this now, we have no idea what's to come. We have no idea what's to come. So this is why I want to, and they're starting to hear these cases today. Hispanics are the fastest growing population, and the majority is scared of them too. You got that right. So I want to keep going. Because the laws are designed as race neutral, the cases will test what qualifies as a Section 2 violation in the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Okay, an outcome likely to impact election law in all 50 states. Although they're hearing about Arizona, what happens at the Supreme Court, which they won't give a ruling until summer, but they'll begin hearing them today, which means we need to start raising our voices today. We should have been raising them yesterday, but we didn't know that they were going to start hearing the cases today. But this also says for us, whatever they decide for Arizona, it will trickle out to every other state. Believe me. And we've seen this happen before. So you may say, oh, that's Arizona. Don't just say, oh, that's Arizona. It's us as well. All right. Separately, the House will consider nearly an 800-page overhaul to federal election law. If passed, the package will still need to clear the 60-vote threshold in the Senate. And we know, again, that's the filibuster. So even if the House passed this, they will face a filibuster in the Senate. Do y'all see why we vote? Do y'all see why we also help other states vote if there's a state different than where you live? Y'all, this is how it's like a deceptive web, if you will. And we're trying to weave our way through to see what's going on and how we can do what we need to do to make a difference and how we raise our voices. So y'all, all of this is happening. All of this is happening. So even with the House, so you need to start thinking about, okay, who represents me in the House? By now, we should all know who represents us in the House. We've had workshops on that already. And if you don't know, just Google your zip, your address. You'll find out who's your representative. Even now, start communicating, because they're putting together an 800-page document overhaul. So we need to contact them. Y'all, here's another thing, especially now that spring is in the air. Go to town hall meetings. So, some of them are opening up through social distancing, and some of them are doing it by Zoom. Y'all, if you know that your representative is having a town hall and you can participate either virtually or face-to-face, I would encourage you to go to hear what they're saying, because that's the information you can use to put in your notes that you send out. Shout out to Kelly Lee, who did that with Rob Portman just a few weeks ago. All right, y'all. So again, I'll go into more in depth of that on tomorrow for Wednesday workshop. All right, we're talking about justice and protesting, y'all. Y'all see why I'm going a different direction today? Hong Kong, because all of this is happening. That's happening Tuesday, but I have to give more in depth to each headline. Justice, y'all. Hong Kong. Yesterday, hundreds of people gathered outside a Hong Kong court for one of the largest protests in months. Now, if y'all remember last summer, they put a law in place saying if you protest, we're going to get you, because they thought they were trying to overthrow the government, and the protest wasn't large at all. But see, they have a different kind of set of rules. China passed a national security law that said you can't do this. You can't gather more than 2 or 3 people. Say, what? You can't gather. So they were talking about that. So, y'all, they now have 47 people in jail that they may or may not let out because they were protesting. They were protesting the racial injustice that are happening in Hong Kong. So that is happening, y'all. That is happening. So when we talk about the United States and we talk about things that we're dealing with, we got to look at the fact that 47 people got arrested because they were outside of the courts in Hong Kong talking about social justice issues. And they don't know when they're going to get out of jail. So that is happening. Y'all, so just to change, to give a little bit of light news here, the 2021 Golden Globes pulled an estimated 5.4 million viewers. That's down 60% from last year. The lowest was in 1995. So people are starting to send a message of what they want to see and what they don't want to see. Y'all, Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers donated $1 million to California small businesses affected by COVID-19. Speaking of that, y'all, PPP, if y'all remember, I believe that was 2 weeks ago maybe, I talked about they were opening a 2-week window for minority-owned small businesses that you can apply for PPP. Hopefully, if you have a business, you've done that. They were also opening it to freelancers and independent businesses. So make sure you do that, because that window is going to close, I believe, on Saturday. So here's an opportunity where you can apply before they open it up to everyone else. So if you have need of that, please complete that. And speaking of that, have your numbers and your taxes and everything for your business in order, so that when something like this comes up or grant opportunity comes up or whatnot, you have that. I'm going to give this to y'all free. Normally charge for this. I'm going to give this to y'all free. This is the 3rd month of the year, which is the end of the 1st quarter of the year. And if you have not done that, start doing this today. If you have a side hustle, a small business or whatever, what are your goals for your business in each quarter? And you can break that down to monthly. So if you have not started it, look at it for March. What are your goals? How many new products and services are you going to offer this month? Even if it's one, have that written down somewhere. How many people are you going to reach out to? How many new clients do you want? How much of an increase of product sales do you want to experience? Y'all, this is how we grow our businesses, and this is how we do what these large companies are doing. Just pull from their way of doing things. Use that as education to use within your business. But y'all, start setting goals. How many contacts do you want to make? How many calls are you going to make? Calls, not emails, but calls. How many are you going to make? How many networking groups are you going to be a part of? How many workshops are you going to attend to strengthen you? And how much are you going to invest into your own business? Y'all, these are things that we need to start implementing. Not saying that you don't have that. For those of you who do not, y'all, don't just go out there and say, I'm going to go run a business. No, like for example, I know Adrian's on here, Nawana's on here, Latrice Jones is on here with Paparazzi Jewelry. How much do you want to sell this month? How many new clients do you want this month? And they already know this. I'm just using them as an example. How many people do you want to touch? How many Zoom parties are you going to have? How many lives are you going to have? And then within each live, how much do you want to sell within each live? Have that goal and increase that goal continuously. So have your plans in place. All right, y'all, that wasn't on my notes, but that was free. Y'all, minimum wage, 4 days after the Chamber's parliamentarian, we talked about that, said Senate rules forbid inclusion of the straight up minimum wage increase in the relief measure. Democrats on Monday seemed to be exhausted. They're like, we don't know what else we're going to do. So what they're trying to do at this moment is that they're trying to push it to the federal floor for the $15 wage. And this is coming from number 2 Senate Democrat Richard Durbin of Illinois. Now, y'all, $7.25 has been the minimum wage since 2009, despite rising inflation. But a nonpartisan report found that raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour could cost over 1 million jobs. Over the weekend, a Democrat-controlled House, y'all know they passed it, but it looks like it's not going anywhere. So now they're talking about $10 an hour. That would help address inflation. I don't know if it does, but that's what they're saying. And they're also exploring other options. But here's the other thing that's happening that we cannot forget. We cannot forget. Good morning, Cassandra. Good morning, Kim Kills. That we cannot forget, y'all. Unemployment benefits. Y'all remember those? See, we have moved on and we're not remembering those things. Y'all, they're due to expire in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks. Which means we're back at these individual people without having much of anything. No assurance, no comfort, no money, no nothing. So they expire in 2 weeks. So this bill needs to pass no later than the 15th of March. This bill needs to pass no later than the 15th of March. Y'all, this is the news that we have going on. All right, y'all, here's your coronavirus numbers in the U.S. Confirmed cases, 29,314,254. Again, that's 29,314,254. Deaths, we have 525,226. Y'all notice that jumped a lot from yesterday. Hold on, I'll tell you why. Recovered, 19,817,532. Again, recovered 19,817,532, and let's celebrate that recovery. Y'all, I pulled out the deaths for worldwide. Worldwide deaths, we have 2.54 million people. Excuse me, 2.54 million people. It's allergy season, so that's what y'all hearing. All right, y'all, almost 51 million people in the U.S. have been vaccinated. At least one vaccine. So they're doing a double, at least one. But y'all, that's only 15% of the U.S. population. They need at least 70% of the U.S. population inoculated before they will see anything change. 70%, we're only at 15%. Now, y'all, get this. Excuse me, get this. What will it take for us, and thank y'all for sending in that you've been vaccinated. What will it take for us to educate people, especially in Black and brown communities, about the vaccine? Write that in if you have a thought. What will it take for us to educate the community? What do we need to show them? What do they need to hear? What do y'all think that is? All right, they're saying that they're expecting wave 4 in the U.S. in the coming weeks. Y'all, we got to practice social distancing. We have to wear a mask. We have to wash our hands. We have to. And by the way, the Trumps got vaccinated before they left the White House, but they didn't tell nobody. The Guardian's reporting that. See, they tried to keep that a secret. Now that's out. They got vaccinated before they left the White House. There's that. All right, y'all. Here's a must share. Indy Star is reporting an 8th grade student was sent to the principal's office because he wouldn't remove his hat. And some of y'all have seen this, I'm sure. Well, when he gets there, he tells the principal why he has not removed his hat. And this was a young black boy. The principal showed him some pictures, and then he left to go get his clippers and came back in and edged up the boy's head with the parents' permission. Y'all, when I read that story, I said, we really need to listen to hear what's going on with people. He's not the win. I just wanted to share that story. That's a standing ovation. We need to listen to hear what's really going on with people before we judge them. Here was a young man that said, look, he talked to the principal. I got a haircut. It didn't turn out right. I didn't want people to tease me, laugh. And I'm ad-libbing here. Tease me, laugh at me or anything. So I just wanted to wear my hat. But I still wanted to come to school. I still wanted to learn, but I had to wear my hat. But here we had a principal that didn't just suspend him or put him in detention or expel him or anything like that. He listened to the young man. And he says, here's some pictures. I do this on the side. Here's my children. This is what I've done. And he went and got his clippers and came back and edged up his head. That's just bravo. That's just bravo if you ask me. For the win, y'all. We still have first, y'all. We still have first. For the win, Serena, and Barry. And maybe it's Sunseria. I think it's Sunseria, and Barry. She is the Senate's first Black American secretary and 8th woman as the legislative body of the 35th secretary. She was named to the position in February by Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, but wasn't slated to serve the role until yesterday, according to The Hill. She says, and I quote, I've had the privilege of working in the U.S. Senate for 40 years serving the American people. She said, I'm humbled by this opportunity to continue to serve as the Secretary of the Senate. It will be an honor to work with senators and staff on behalf of the country to advance our common goal of representing this great nation. So she gets the win again. And her name is spelled Sonceria. Sonceria. And then they do a quotation mark around Ann because she goes by the name Ann. Her last name is Berry, Berry. She goes on and says, and this is a quote, I think this will be the day of recognition when I truly feel the impact of what it means to be appointed the first African-American woman to hold the position of Secretary of the Senate. As she was reciting the Pledge of Allegiance as an officer of the United States State Senate, she said it's monumental to be this kid who grew up under the love and supervision of Maddie and Maxie Bishop in Birmingham, Alabama. So I believe those were her parents. But it's just so exciting to see that she has this position. So she gets the win today. My inspirational message, and then we're out of here. I know I gave y'all a whole lot of news. We went deep today. And please share it. Please share this news, especially with the voting rights. So if everyone would just click the share button and share it out, I would appreciate it. And it's not for them to see news in motion. It's for them to get that information. My inspirational message for today. I'm back to blind Bartimaeus. I'm back there. When he's yelling out to Jesus, Son of God, hello, have mercy on me. He's screaming. And when everybody else is trying to tell him to be quiet, he's screaming. When Jesus comes back over to him, he says, what do you want me to do for you? Jesus asked him. And the blind man said, Rabbi, I want to see. I want us to focus on that. Is he on here now? Happy birthday, Mike Nicholson. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. But the question is, what do you want Jesus to do for you? Remember, he asked blind Bartimaeus, what do you want me to do for you? And blind Bartimaeus said to him, without question, without hesitation, I want to see. I want to see. This is the question I want to put before us today before I sign off. What do we want? What do we want? What do we want? If someone was to ask you, what do you want? What can I do for you? Do you have an answer? Do you have an answer? What do you want? If you were in your office, if you were lying across your bed, if you were in your living room, if you were in the bathroom, and you heard an audible voice from Jesus say to you, Laverne, what do you want me to do for you? John, what do you want me to do for you? Mike, what do you want me to do for you? Deborah, what do you want me to do for you? Annette, what do you want me to do for you? Pastor Alex, what do you want me to do for you? I can go through and give all of y'all's names. What do you want me to do for you, Lori? What do you want me to do for you, Regina? What do you want me to do for you? Tracy, what do you want me to do for you? Oscar, what do you want for me to do for you? Jeffrey or Philip or anybody's name. You fill in your own name there. What do you want me to do for you? What is your answer? Are you ready to answer it? Or are you going to be sitting there going, I don't know. No, know that answer. And don't be afraid to give the answer. What do you want me to do for you? I'm just reminded this week, and I'm going back to Liza Scott. I'm going back to her mom, Elizabeth. This 7-year-old, and hopefully y'all have seen the different videos that are out there now where she was interviewed. This 7-year-old said, okay, well, I'm going to raise money for my own brain surgery. Now, I don't know if I'm going to make it, but this hurts. This is hard. This is difficult dealing with this. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but I'm going to still do this. I'm going to still do this. And then her mom, who she says when she can't sleep, when she can barely breathe, she gets on her hands and knees and pray, literally. She is telling God what she wants him to do for her. Y'all, what do you want God to do for you? Seriously. Seriously, what do you want? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to tell him. And don't think anything is too big or anything is too small. He's a gracious God. All we have to do is ask. All we have to do to ask. Shoot, if he asked me this morning, like, can you completely heal my neck and back, please? Please, can you just do that for me? Because it still hurts. Can you still do that? Can you do that for me? I know you can do it. Can you do that for me? God, increase news and motion, not for numbers' sake, but the reach, so that this relevant commentary with the call to action mixed with the inspirational message will touch the lives of people everywhere. Yeah, that's my ask. And it's not a overly confident act. It's my ask. It's my ask. I can ask him whatever I want to. What do you want to ask him? What do you want from him? What do you want God to do for you today? What do you want? You know, if I was to be completely transparent and honest with you, I would also say, God, can you fix our government? We're messed up. God, can you heal the land? We're in pain. We're in trouble. That's another ask. God, can you make sure that people don't lose their homes, that people don't lose their jobs, that people will always have money, miraculously if need be, not to show off, but to meet their needs? That's an ask. God, can you make sure every child is fed? Every one of your children, young and old, can you make sure they're fed, that they have something to eat? That's my ask. That's my ask. So be prepared, be ready. When you hear that voice, when God says, what do you want me to do for you? Be ready to answer. All right, y'all, that's all I have for today. I am Gail Dudley with your News in Motion. You make it a great day. Hey, do me a favor, stay well, and remember, make moves.